Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going.
Hello.
Happy Monday. Good morning. Oh, feels like it's been a week already, and it's only been one day of the week.
Right? For you, it's only been a couple hours here.
No, it's been quite an eventful couple of weeks, I think, for both of us.
Yes.
And as we always do, we sort of have a quick chat beforehand to catch up. But one of our biggest ways to catch up is our highs and lows as well. Yeah. So do you want to start?
Sure. Oh, and I love that we do try to prepare ourselves for what we're going to share. And sometimes we just run into a recording and don't think twice about
it. Sometimes. Yep.
So
full transparency.
Yeah. I think, okay, so my low is going to be actually more of just like a crazy story and just that I'm like so mad at myself about this. But Friday, I had a really good day. And with Declan's school, being that it's only the first couple of days and we pick them up directly at their classroom, we have to show our license to prove we are who we are. So that way they're not just handing our child to a random person to go home with.
Yep.
So
good idea.
Yeah. His first day, I was on top of it. I had my license. Friday, I was rushing back from helping my parents. I was like, I'm not going to drive. I'll make it in time back to the house in order to walk. No big deal. I grabbed some snacks because I hadn't eaten lunch. We're going to eat on the way. We have a nice 10-minute walk. No big deal. I get to the driveway of the school and I go, explicit, I forgot my license and I had to run home because it was already the time that I needed to be on the line for him to be picked up. I would have been the end of the line anyway. And I literally ran home. And I had already done a workout and 2 walks in the morning to drop him off. And cleaned up, hooked up, dropped off, set up my parents' trailer and all that goes with it in the hot sun. So I can't believe I did this. And I'm like, there's no time to walk or run back. It's a 10-minute walk. I'm going to be so late. So I had to drive. I'm like, there better be a parking spot. I don't know. I was kicking myself in the butt. I'm like, well, we know I'll never forget my license ever again.
It's like, can I just say, for anyone who might have tuned in for the first time, this is Jill in a nutshell, like doing not just the 10-minute workout, but the hour workout and all of the trailer move and then just a quick run home, like sprint home. Like, this is Jill to a T on the second day of school for the year.
This tells you anything what this year is going to be like.
Like type A personality.
And then Bobby and I had date night that night, and I just kept going on about it. I still can't believe it. Like 4 or 6 hours later, I'm still going on about it, how I lost.
Still fuming. I hope date night wasn't too extensively exhausting or strenuous either.
That's great. Oh my God. No. Well, it's a funny story. It is my low. And then my high. Yesterday, Declan spent 4 hours in my in-laws' pool. Minimum. It had to have been a minimum of 4 hours. Him and his cousin just played and played and played. And not one adult, my father-in-law got in for a little while. We just got to sit there and watch them. Like, they were so, it was enjoyable. It was such a great day just to like end the summer, welcome in the fall, and get the last little bit of pool time in. And it was a blast, absolute blast.
Yep.
So anyway, those are some good highs and lows for me. Linda, would you like to share yours?
Okay, I'm going to start with a low as well. It's Monday evening, and I honestly feel like I haven't sat down for about 9 hours. Even dinner was up and down and round, and somebody climbing over my shoulders, and like just it felt like it may not have been exactly like the extreme horror show that I'm feeling right now. It felt like every time I sat down, somebody was destroying, destructing, ripping up, tearing up, throwing things on the floor, just generally into something every time I tried to sit down. On my keyboard, on my desk, on my bench tops, on my just dog's water, dog's food, fridge, cupboards, puzzle. We have a puzzle, a 350-piece puzzle, and I feel like there are bits of that puzzle in every single corner of every single room and everywhere else in between. It's like confetti. And I don't think the puzzle's even going to be salvageable. It's probably got so many missing pieces. So it's just felt like I've been chasing my tail today. You know, those days where you're trying to get on top of things, and each time you go to one room, in the other room, something else is being pulled out that you just put away.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to take them outside and put them in the bath and like all of those usual tricks, which worked temporarily.
Yeah.
But I needed more than temporary just to – it ended up basically being a day off in many ways. Tried to get up early to write, and it was followed by a 3-year-old who just wanted to know when we could go to preschool, pre-kinder, which was 6 hours away at that stage. So,
Oh, I hate that. It's like, we got some time, kiddo. You should have slept longer.
He ended up going in his pajamas as well because he just wanted to go in his pajamas. And so that's part of what we did today. And yes, anyway, my high, I still did manage to do a bit of writing today, which I have been wanting to commit to writing every day. And I have consistently done that now for almost 20 days, I think, at this stage, maybe almost 30.
Awesome.
And so I have a heap to post now that the internet is back up. The internet is back up. That's also a pretty big high. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's all. Both of us had quite long-winded highs and lows today. And this is the way that we start the podcast, and I do enjoy the fact we can see both sides of the coin.
Yeah, I love that. And this is a practice that both of us have been doing for quite some time now. A shorter amount of time than you have, Linda. You've been doing this for a very long time, in your own form of a different way that you call it. You don't call it highs and lows with your kiddos. And we called it something different in the group that I was in where I learned it, but all primarily the same. And it's just a way of celebrating just one thing that gets us a little bit of joy in our day, but also realizing that, we probably still had something hard happen. And I like that we'll talk about this today in our conversation a little bit more. So I know in our notes, Linda, you have a definition for a high and a low, and just to help those who are possibly tuning in for the first time and not haven't heard us talk about it before, but you had low. It's like an unsatisfied, didn't get the outcome you were hoping for, plans ruined by toddler. Pretty much, having to take the day to not work on what you want to work on and give all the attention to those who need it other than what we're expecting we are going to need to do. So, and And then our high is where it all works out, even if it didn't work out, and you still get to experience some joy. So,
and I think there's the phrase, "Oh, I'm just having a really bad day," but even bad days, you can find a good moment.
yeah,
Generally, in every bad day, there is at least a moment of or something, even if it's only tiny, perhaps. There's lots of those moments if we stop for a second and look at it from a different perspective, even to what we might be, the mindset we might be in.
When you say that, it reminds me of we don't do to-do lists anymore, but when I was trying to be better at doing to-do lists before we switched out of using them, there were a few other tricks that I was trying, and one of them being like, put on your to-do list the little things you know you'll do, like make your bed in the morning and let that be your first win for the day. And it's something so simple as that. Like, what is something that will bring you the tiniest little bit of joy that you'll remember that oh, that's right, I did get to do this. This was a high of today. Or like, even if I have the worst day ever, I did start it out with doing this. Maybe it's a workout. Like, I think sometimes that brings a little bit of joy to my worst days, is when I start the day out with a workout, even if the rest of the day goes downhill. So
it's
you're very right on that. There's probably something.
As mamas or grandmothers, or being surrounded by little people, often they do have little moments of joy in their own selves, because that's how they're born to be. They're born to be happy. They're born to be joyful. And as we age, we do lose a little bit of that at times and get a bit party poopy, I think. And so the fact that they can often surround us with an innocence or a play or a funny word that comes out or a funny phrase, it's really great to watch that too.
Yeah, for sure. I think also, like we talk about a lot, is some of our highs are really the things that our kids are doing and not necessarily what we get to do. It's like the things that we get to experience with them or watch them accomplish bring a lot of highs out in us. And I think it helps us be a little bit more aware, because that's another thing we talk about is awareness quite a bit, not just of ourselves, but of what is going around and what we are nurturing as mothers or as entrepreneurs or whatever role we are playing. There's a greater awareness when we do practice talking about our highs and lows, because we're kind of like searching, like, well, what did happen? What's sticking out that did make a difference in my day?
And sometimes by voicing the lows out loud, we've talked about validation and self-care or acknowledgement, or just feeling like we have a bit of a voice in all of the never-ending picking up puzzle pieces and forgetting something when we're in a rush, or all those things. Saying it out loud can be very helpful for us on something like a podcast, and maybe for you at home if you've got someone that you can also talk to, or if you can write it down, or just to have it there in front of you and say, you know what, this didn't go to plan and that's okay. Or, hey, that's something that keeps coming up and I might try it a different way, slightly different way, or I'd like to change that. Or it's just seeing that there, especially next to a high.
Is it giving us a different perspective of like problem solving, or realizing that it really wasn't that big a deal after, just in the moment. And it also doesn't put the responsibility to fix or to bandage what the low is either. It's just giving it its space when we talk it out loud, just to get it out. It's been said. Somebody else has heard it now, knows my pain, and we can move on and talk about something else.
Yes. Thank you for coming. See you again tomorrow. Yeah. It's interesting because, I had the comment tonight. Well, why did you expect that it would even stay tidy with 2 toddlers running around? And exactly right. Why was I thinking that I could exactly have it to a standard? Especially, I specifically hadn't done much on the weekend because I was catching up on the internet and fixing the internet, and had a couple of other events and meetings and all sorts of things to go to. So I hadn't done anything all weekend. So I knew that today was going to be a little bit heavier. Even that said, it was, goodness me. So anyway.
I've learned some hard lessons to just leave it till the end of the day.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes the other hard lesson is I get too comfortable leaving everything to the end of the week.
Yep. And I left it to the end of the week, and then got to the end of the week and went, oh no, actually, well, I've got a really full weekend. So now we're back at the start of the week and we're doing it all over again.
Oh, the circle of life of motherhood.
Yeah. So, Jill, if you didn't have a practice of highs and lows, or you didn't have the ability to talk it out like we do, what do you think you would suggest at your end?
I do like how we mentioned to write it down. But even if I did not know about it at all until now, like I still write stuff. Like I'm a journaler, like not prompt wise, but I'm when it comes down to a really rough day, I do go about and kind of like narrate the whole day. And most times highs and lows come out, not that I'm recognizing them in those moments that those are what they are, but usually you'll see if I look back at my entries, there's always something that stands out that was a positive and a negative of those instances. So I think for me, pre highs and lows practice, it was recognizable in a lot of my journaling, but I'm not coming up with any other ideas at the moment. You are fantastic at having conversations and pulling out these kinds of questions in people without saying, well, what are a high and a low? So when you would talk to somebody, what would you be doing? Introducing that kind of concept.
I think explaining the contrast, the power of the contrast, is important when you do have the self-awareness, the care to take time to look at the contrast between one high and one low. That's quite powerful. I think we've talked about toxic positivity and that sort of thing in a previous episode before as well, where if we're just looking at thinking that it's sunshine and rainbows and wonderful la-di-da, that's not the reality of a mucked up motherhood, self-care, like And
Yeah.
so
Real life.
if we were just looking for the positive and only pulling out the positive, I think that can feel quite a lot of pressure
Oh yeah.
on someone. And again, not reality. So I think explaining the contrast between the two and helping with examples. So we've just provided examples today. So probably I would kick off if I was in conversation with someone, either face-to-face or online or even in a chat, like a messenger chat or something, I would probably kick it off with examples first to help the other person maybe feel comfortable and realize it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can just be ordinary, everyday things that we think we think aren't important, but actually are. Yeah. So I think that's what I would do.
Cool.
Yep.
I think it's I think probably one of the biggest takeaways we can take away starting out is that it's not, we don't have to dig deep for something when we're just starting to practice recognizing our highs and lows. So
that's
like
right.
you said, like coming up with examples that are almost like a mundane, ordinary, everyday thing that we would have done and not recognized, like step outside and breathe in some fresh air, or pick a flower, or have a sweet boy come in and, you know, kiss you goodnight right before bed, unprovoked. You know, like simple things can be a high when we are in the throes of motherhood. And just having other people say them out loud and be like, oh, well, that did happen. That was a joyous thing for me today. That was a great moment that I got with whoever, is probably what can get anybody started, is, you know, hearing those little bits from others too. So,
if you do want to kick off a conversation or reach out to us, we would love to hear your highs and lows. You can email us at muckedupmyselfcare@gmail.com. It's all going to be in the show notes.
Yeah.
At Gmail. Yeah. And there are links as well to connect with either of us as well. So it's until the next episode, I guess we'll be back on highs and lows again.
Yes. So until next week,
we hope you can unstuck your muck.
Bye.
Bye.